when I was 13, I had a magic horse. Honey was a little brown mare from the Penticton Indian Reserve in the Okanagan Valley, where wild horses still roam. Honey traveled with me from British Columbia to Alberta and to Central America. We swam in the Caribbean Ocean, explored the Rocky Mountains, and performed at the Calgary Stampede. She was brave, independent, and aware. Honey is still my guide, and uncovering her secrets has led me to ask, could she be from an unbroken lineage to the original horses of America? I live on the reservation in Oliver, BC, and I am lucky to see these wild horses almost every day. Some people consider these horses feral and neglected. This is justified because according to Western science, although horses first evolved in the Americas, they went extinct about 10,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. They were then reintroduced by Spanish explorers in the 16th century and mixed with other horses, all of which were brought to the Americas. But there is another perspective. In 2019, I moved back to the Okanagan from where I was living in Honduras. I had decided to retire Honey there, and I wanted to find myself another wild horse. This is how my friendship with Aaron Stelkaya first began. Aaron is an Osuyas Indian band member who works with the wild horses. His mother, Jane, is one of the last fluent in Silkson speakers, and she carries with her the knowledge of her people. Knowledge that includes a relationship with the horse built over millennia.
I didn't go to residential school. I was fortunate enough to go to the public school here, and they taught us that horses were brought here by the Spaniards and introduced to us. Our oral stories that we were hearing at home, they were always here, so it was always confusing. That couldn't have been just in a 100-year thing, the horsemanship that they had.
Yeah.
You know, they were able to ride bareback, sideways.
Then came the horse. The Spaniards brought them. They strayed, they were stolen, they were bred. Till at last, the Plains Indian was the finest horseman in the world.
This antiquated version of history needs to be revisited. In 2020, I was finishing my master's program, and I completed my final research project on the Okanagan Wild horses and how they are being managed from an Indigenous perspective. This is how I was first introduced to the belief that these horses have always been here. That the Okanagan Chaptik, or oral histories, are evidence of this long coexistence.
Syilx Okanagan history rejects Western theories which suggest with ambiguous evidence that we migrated across the Bering Strait and that the horse came to us solely from Spanish conquistadors and that we supposedly killed off the large North American horse herds in some type of primeval slaughter 10,000 years ago. It is expressed as truth by Syilx Okanagan elders and the Chaptik that the Scalach, the people, have been here since the existence of humans. We originate from and are part of this land, and Sinclaith Chaskacha has always been here. More importantly, the Chaptik reveals the natural laws and responsibilities we have as Syilx Sukanakinach people. Okay, White Sarah, Scholas Quist Mahoya, I'm Bill Cohen. I'm Seelach Okanagan from North Okanagan. I'm assistant professor in Okanagan School of Education here at UBCO. That's Coolmista Mi Sinkalchaskacha, or stories and images about what the horse has done for us, was a class project quite a few years back. We went and held a dinner in each community, and we invited elders, families, horse people to come in with their photo albums, their stories, and we'd take pictures. And some of the research that went into it was engaging with the elders and our really highly fluent speakers throughout the Okanagan Seelach homelands. One of the key continuous pattern or theme that came up was that Sinkalchaskacha, our term for horse, is as old as our language. And our elders say the horse has always been here.
My first horse, I think, I was about 9 on this one.
This one here?
Yeah.
What's the horse's?
Tarzan.
At this point in my friendship with Aaron and Jane, I realized I had to leave a space for what they were telling me about these horses.
It's up in Sinstras.
Sinstras.
Can you say jazz?
Jazz.
Sinstras.
Sinstras.
That's where Skaha Lake comes from. They say it's a dog. It's not a dog, it's a horse. Sinstras.
What if horses never went extinct? What would that mean for this community and for the world?
Tara, get up here.
In order to learn more about this past, a time before newcomers had arrived, I sat down with Jane's friend, archaeologist Brenda Gold. Jane and Brenda met in 2014 when an ancient pit house was discovered on Jane's ancestral land.
I first met Jane when I was asked to do archaeology on her property where the cottages are now located. We hit it right off. She came out and participated in the entire excavation of the house pit. From that, we learned a whole bunch of interesting information about what her ancestors were doing around 2,500 years ago. And we found ochre, which is a very highly spiritual and ceremonial substance from nearby. It was used to make pictographs. You see it used all over the world in rock art, not just here. There are pictographs right above this archaeology site. If we were able to determine that this paint matches the chemical fingerprint of a paint on one of those pictographs, we know that this ochre came from that 2,500-year-old context, so then we could make an inference that the pictograph could be 2,500 years old.
I was hoping Brenda could help me reconcile this history of the horse. How could evidence of the horses be missed for so long?
The popular scientific belief was that the Pleistocene horses went extinct at the end of the last ice age. There was no people here. Terra nullius, land was empty, therefore ours.
Evidence like ancient pictographs are vandalized, destroyed, inappropriately exploited, and put at risk constantly. Many local pictograph sites, including those depicting horses, have been lost over time.
I have been working with colleagues in France and Cairo and Australia to look at dating for the first time in Western North America a pictograph site. You know, the potential dating of rock art sites that have horse images to show, length of time. I think it's going to start to become more of a research question. It's just currently not a question that anyone is asking. And because of that, there's just a lack of data.
Brenda was open to the idea that horses might not have gone extinct entirely in the Americas. I started digging through academic sources that supported this other idea. This is how I found out about Dr. Yvette Running Horse Collin, a genomist and Lakota scientist who works under the premise that horses have been with the first people since time immemorial. I first contacted Yvette after reading her dissertation, The Relationship Between the Indigenous Peoples of the Americas and the Horse, Deconstructing a Eurocentric Myth. Her current research collaboration was published in the Journal of Science in March 2023. After a few emails, Yvette and her elders decided that she should come to the Okanagan to meet Aaron and Jane and the horses in person.
Imagine if you're a horse people, right, and you don't use corrals or fencing them in a sort of keeping them captive type way. You have to be that good, right? You have to know them that well. Like Jane is saying, when they needed to find them, and they needed to be with them at a certain time in a certain way, they just go get them, and then they come together and work together, and then they go back. And so that's going to look very different. And genetically, that's going to show up very different, right? That way of living leaves a mark in the genome, right? It's going to be very different. They're looking for, expecting to find us with horses in the way that they lived with the horses. So, right, small spaces, forced breeding, tight corrals. You know, as an archaeologist, you're going to look for big old piles of manure, very deep, and you're not going to find that with us. We didn't live like that with them, because this is a global issue we're talking about, right? Around the world, they accepted that there were no horses in the America, and they treated our people accordingly. If horse husbandry and a relationship with the horse and dominance of the horse was a mark of power and civilization, right? If we had this and we had deep relationships with them and we had mastery of their ways and we didn't need to dominate like this, what does that say?
How it was is like the chasing horses I was talking about. When they bring them to the flat and they're going full speed, my dad would be behind the horses, and if he had a half-fast horse, he'd get in a bunch of horses and he'd jump on them on the back of a wild horse that they're just bringing in. Well, that horse couldn't really buck because it's running, and he'd run all the way back into the corral. I want to always bring that up because I've never seen anybody else do that.
This is very deep, this issue. And so if we can begin to correct this scientifically, very openly, there's great healing that can happen from this.
I could see Jane was motivated by Yvette's work, by this mounting evidence that supports what she has always known. An article originally published online in 2021 by McMaster University website A Brighter World explains that ancient DNA, including horse, has been found in small soil samples in the Yukon's permafrost. This horse DNA is from 5,000 years ago, which means horses did not go extinct in the last ice age, and arguably they are a native North American species. Yvette's work uncovering the history of the horses in the Americas is ongoing, but proving that some survived the last ice age in places like the Okanagan Valley could be a huge domino falling that would rebalance the relationship between Western and Indigenous science. For the Okanagan Wild horses, their story is far from over, and now Yvette is giving us a chance to learn more about their common ancestry.
What about that tail?
Oh yeah, we gotta get it. Jane grew up with a horsetail hanging in her home. She gave Yvette the tail for her next research project.
I hope we find out. And it's leaving here, that's what I said.
Yvette also took a sample of hair that I had saved from honey. We hope to find a place for these horses in history and gain a new perspective for our future.